Imagine a world where your next meal could be as simple as taking a walk in the park, where the sun's rays might not just tan your skin, but also fill your stomach. Sounds like a futuristic sci-fi movie, right? But what if I told you it could be a reality? If humans could photosynthesize? Welcome back to Flack Lab, where we love to blow your minds with intriguing scientific what-if scenarios. Today, we're asking a question that might change the way you see your lunch. What if humans could photosynthesize? Yes, I'm talking about the process plants use to convert sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water into food. It sounds like a dream come true, doesn't it? No more cooking, no more grocery shopping, just pure, clean energy from the sun. But the reality might not be as rosy or green as it seems. Let's dive into it and see what would happen if we were able to harness the power of photosynthesis. To understand what would happen if humans could photosynthesize, we first need to understand what photosynthesis is. It's a process where green plants, algae, and some bacteria convert light energy, usually from the sun, into chemical energy in the form of glucose or sugar. They do this using chlorophyll, a green pigment that captures light energy. You might be thinking, great, let's just inject some chlorophyll and we're good to go, right? Not so fast. The process of photosynthesis is complex and requires not just chlorophyll but a specific cellular structure that humans lack. Plus, even if we could photosynthesize, our skin surface would not be large enough to produce the amount of energy we require daily. So let's say, hypothetically, we've found a way to overcome these hurdles. We've engineered humans to have chlorophyll and the necessary cellular structures for photosynthesis. In this scenario, we'd have a few noticeable changes. First off, we'd probably be green. Yes, you heard me right. Just like plants, our skin would likely take on a green hue due to the chlorophyll. Fashion trends would definitely take an interesting turn. Secondly, we'd need to consume a lot more water and breathe in a lot more carbon dioxide. This could pose a problem in heavily polluted cities or dry, arid regions. On the flip side, we'd also be releasing a lot more oxygen, which could have interesting implications for the environment. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting. If humans could photosynthesize, we'd be producing a lot more oxygen, potentially reversing some effects of climate change. However, we'd also be competing with plants for sunlight, which could lead to some unexpected consequences. Imagine the hustle and bustle of a city sidewalk, but instead of fighting for space, we're fighting for the best sunlight. Beyond the scientific and ecological implications, it's worth considering how this could affect our society and culture. Food and meal traditions play a significant role in our social lives. What would happen if we no longer needed to eat? Not to mention the economic implications. Agricultural industries would be devastated, while sunscreen sales might skyrocket. And imagine the inequality that could arise from access to sunlight. Would we see a new kind of wealth gap between those who can afford to sunbathe and those who can't? Taking this thought experiment a step further, let's delve into the potential physiological implications of photosynthesizing humans. What would it mean for our bodies and our health? Let's start with our diet. With the ability to convert sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water into food, we would likely require less traditional sustenance. This doesn't mean we would completely abandon eating, but our caloric needs would be supplemented by photosynthesis. Depending on the efficiency of this process, we might see a shift in our eating habits and dietary requirements. For instance, we would still need proteins and fats, nutrients that photosynthesis doesn't produce. We would also still need vitamins and minerals, many of which are obtained through the foods we eat. In this new world, we might see a rise in popularity of nutrient-dense foods and supplements to ensure we're getting all the necessary nutrients. Next, let's consider our skin. If humans were to photosynthesize, our skin would need to change significantly. As mentioned earlier, we would likely develop a greenish hue due to chlorophyll. But our skin wouldn't just change color, it would need to become more receptive to sunlight. This could mean becoming more sensitive to sunlight, which could have implications for our susceptibility to sunburns and skin cancer. Moreover, the amount of sunlight available to us would become a determining factor in our overall health and well-being. This could have profound implications on where we choose to live. Regions with less sunlight, such as the far north and south, might become less inhabitable, while equatorial regions could see a population boom. In addition, photosynthesis requires a large amount of water. This means that we would need to drastically increase our water intake. In a world where water scarcity is a growing concern, this could present a significant challenge. Our bodies might adapt to store more water, similar to a camel, or we might evolve to better conserve and recycle our water, similar to a cactus. Finally, there's the question of energy. Photosynthesis is not an overly efficient process. Plants, for instance, only convert about 1% of the available sunlight into usable energy. For photosynthesizing humans, this could mean spending large amounts of time in the sun to get the energy we need. Depending on our lifestyle and activity level, we might need to supplement our energy intake with traditional food. The ability for humans to photosynthesize would most certainly have a ripple effect on our societal structures and norms. First and foremost, our relationship with food would change dramatically. Eating might become a less communal activity as the need to consume meals together could decrease. This could alter social dynamics and traditions associated with meal times. Our work schedules might also be impacted. With the need to absorb sunlight for energy, the concept of the 9-to-5 workday could become obsolete, replaced by schedules that allow for optimal sunlight exposure. This could result in a radical shift in our daily routines and lifestyles. The fashion industry would likely undergo a significant transformation as well. If our skin were to take on a green hue, it would impact the colors and styles that are considered fashionable. Furthermore, Clothing design might need to evolve to allow for more skin exposure to the sun while simultaneously protecting from excessive sunlight and potential skin damage. In conclusion, the idea of photosynthesizing humans is a fascinating concept to ponder. It would undoubtedly present challenges, but it also offers intriguing possibilities for how we could adapt and evolve. While it remains firmly in the realm of science fiction for now, it provides a unique lens through which we can examine our relationship with the natural world and our place within it. Moving beyond the physiological, let's discuss the metabolic and environmental implications of photosynthesizing humans. How would our metabolic processes alter, and what kind of impact would this have on our environment? Digging into our metabolism, photosynthesis would introduce a new energy production pathway. Currently, our bodies convert the food we eat into glucose, which is then turned into ATP, the molecule that powers our cells. With photosynthesis, we would be able to produce glucose directly from sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. This means that our bodies would need to adapt to handle both energy production methods, potentially leading to changes in our internal biochemistry. For example, the balance between our respiratory and circulatory systems could shift. Our respiratory system, which currently plays a crucial role in exhaling the carbon dioxide waste product from our metabolism, might be repurposed to intake carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. On the other hand, our circulatory system, responsible for distributing glucose and oxygen to our cells, might need to adjust to accommodate the direct production of glucose in our skin cells. Photosynthesizing humans could also have profound effects on our sleep patterns. As photosynthesis requires sunlight, it's plausible that humans could become more diurnal, aligning their active hours with daylight to maximize photosynthetic efficiency. This could lead to societal shifts in work schedules, school hours, and general lifestyle patterns. Turning to environmental implications, photosynthesizing humans could significantly impact the planet's carbon cycle. Currently, humans contribute to carbon dioxide emissions through activities like burning fossil fuels. If we could photosynthesize, we would instead be absorbing carbon dioxide, potentially playing a role in mitigating climate change. However, the impact would greatly depend on the efficiency of human photosynthesis and the total human population. Moreover, we might also see changes in our relationship with plants. Today, plants are our primary source of oxygen and a significant source of food. If humans could photosynthesize, we might find ourselves in direct competition with plants for sunlight and carbon dioxide. This could lead to shifts in our agricultural practices, land use, and conservation efforts. Lastly, a photosynthetic lifestyle might also influence our social and cultural norms. For instance, sunbathing could evolve from a leisure activity to a necessary part of daily life. Clothing styles might change to expose more skin to the sun, and architecture might evolve to maximize natural light in homes and buildings. In conclusion, while the concept of photosynthesizing humans is purely theoretical, exploring this idea allows us to think deeply about our relationship with our bodies, our environment, and the energy that sustains us. Photosynthesizing humans would trigger a massive shift in the global agricultural and economic landscapes. Firstly, the demand for food crops would decline drastically, leading to a significant transformation in the agriculture sector. Farmland devoted to food production could be repurposed for other uses, such as growing biofuels or raw materials for industries. This could potentially revolutionize our approach to land use and conservation, reducing deforestation and promoting biodiversity. However, this transition would not be without its challenges. Millions of people around the world depend on agriculture for their livelihood. A decline in demand for food crops could result in significant job losses and cause economic instability, especially in regions where agriculture forms the backbone of the economy. Governments and international organizations would need to devise strategies to manage this transition and mitigate its impact on vulnerable populations. On the other hand, the food industry would also undergo a major transformation. With less need for traditional food sources, food companies might redirect their focus towards producing supplements to complement photosynthesis, creating a completely new market. Additionally, the hospitality industry, particularly restaurants, would need to reinvent their offerings. This could lead to innovative culinary experiences, where taste and enjoyment become the primary focus over nutritional necessity. Furthermore, photosynthesizing humans would mean a lower demand on livestock farming. This could have a positive environmental impact, as livestock farming is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. However, similar to crop farming, this could also result in job losses and economic challenges that would need to be addressed. Overall, the ability for humans to photosynthesize would reshape our economy in ways we can barely imagine. It would bring about both opportunities and challenges, requiring us to rethink and restructure many aspects of our society. So, what if humans could photosynthesize? Well, it's a question that opens up a world of possibilities. From a greener, more oxygen-rich environment to a complete societal overhaul. While the science currently doesn't support this hypothetical, it's always fascinating to imagine the what-ifs. And who knows, maybe one day this won't be just a hypothetical question. And there you have it. We hope you've enjoyed this enlightening journey into the world of photosynthesis. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep exploring mind-blowing scientific scenarios, don't forget to subscribe to FLAC Lab and hit that notification bell. Until next time, keep pondering the possibilities.